From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something that you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. A couple days away, a few days away, I guess. Few would be three. From Ole Miss and Texas Tech, Saturday, 11 a.m. from Houston NRG Stadium. Is that right, Neal? Is that correct?
NRG Stadium. It's a play on the word energy.
Oh, there you go. And Oklahoma City's Chesapeake Energy Arena, correct?
It is, although I think Chesapeake has some issues, perhaps, with, agencies and such.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's been a great year for the people at Chesapeake Energy.
Think they're still going to be the stadium sponsor moving forward?
That would be my guess, at least for now. But, it's a crazy world out there, Chase.
Okay. So anyway, we'll talk a good bit of Ole Miss today. News yesterday afternoon. Credit to Ole Miss for just putting this out about an hour and a half prior to practice yesterday. Eric Swinney out approximately 3 weeks with mononucleosis. He was the number 2 running back coming out of camp, the only running back with any experience to speak of on that Ole Miss depth chart. So we'll break down that a little bit. There's also plenty of coverage about that at rebelgrove.com this morning, along with some other stuff as well. Also at rebelgrove.com, I looked at Phil Longo's last matchup with Texas Tech. He was at Sam Houston State. Sam Houston State put up 637 yards of total offense against Texas Tech to start the 2015 season. Tech had the same defensive coordinator, David Gibbs, as now as well. So that's up. The video from Longo's press conference on Monday up in that content item as well. And Neal has the debut of his mailbag. The inaugural edition is on the site at rebelgrove.com, where he took questions from all over the place, turned that into answers. You can find that this morning at rebelgrove.com.
Did you read it?
I did. I skimmed it because I fixed a couple formatting things, and I kind of skimmed it and read the full answers to a few questions along the way.
It was fun. I actually enjoyed it. As I was telling you, the stuff like that's what I still sort of enjoy the most about the writing process.
There's a certain monotonous nature to the so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so said, so-and-so said.
Yeah, and I'm not complaining about that part of journalism. It's a necessary part of journalism. But the part of journalism that requires interviewing, transcribing, writing to quotes can be quite monotonous.
Okay. So we'll get into
I'm not, not complaining, and we're not going to stop doing it. But sometimes how do you explain this? It's like sometimes you have to have a mental health day. Sometimes you have to do things in your job. One of the great things about jobs like this one is that sometimes you get to do things that
you can entertain yourself.
Yeah, you do it for yourself, really. And if it entertains others, great. But it's a little bit for your own sanity.
10 years ago, you would not have anticipated the week that we have from a content item 10 years later. You were still very journalism said 10 years ago.
Yeah, this was organic, the whole deal. But I knew 10 years ago, I would have told you 10 years ago, this is not how I'm going to do this in 6 years. If I'm still doing this in 6 years.
Right.
I knew there would be change. There was no way I was going to keep up that pace, and it was a little bit about just kind of establishing some degree of credibility.
Establishing a foundation. Hey, here's kind of what I do, and then now let's play a little bit. And because those things only work. I mean, we'll get to this in a second. So anyway, podcast brought to you in part by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Telling you about the rib special for Labor Day coming up on Sunday and Monday. 2 days available for this, September 2nd, September 3rd. You get 2 slabs of ribs for $25. You get 3 slabs of ribs for $33. So really good value there. They are great. Neal and I both had them for multiple holidays along the way. They have wet, they have dry. Call ahead, just show up. Either way, packed up and ready to go for you there at the Oxford Exxon. Get the Speed Pass Plus, the Minute Cheese Bites next door at the Oxford Crystal, and plenty more. And also coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the phone number. You call that number. You ask for Corey Clark. Really, guys, it's that simple. It's all you have to do. Ask for Corey and then tell Corey, hey, this is what I'm looking at. I want to get a quote on a new Expedition. I want to get a quote on a new F-150. I want to get a quote on a 16 Explorer. Okay. He'll get that information to you. He'll get you bottom lines right away. You'll literally, within 15 minutes, have it in front of you, usually in email form. You'll have it in front of you. Okay, this is what I'm looking at. And then from there, it's up to you. You decide how complicated you want the process to be. You can take that quote. You can shop it around. That's cool. It's certainly your prerogative. It's not going to hurt Corey's feelings. Or you can go ahead and take my word for it and take the word of so many other podcast listeners and get your new or previously owned Ford product from Corey and the people there at Clark Ford. You get a great Ford product. You get great service after the sale. Corey goes above and beyond. It's not just lip service. I promise you I can give you examples. I did, in fact, last week where I didn't have time to get to Amory for an oil change. Corey sent someone here, got my truck, left me a car I could drive for a few hours, did what I needed for the truck, brought it back same day. He knew I had to go to Jackson the next day. I didn't have much time. He turned it around. He'll do that for you as well. Clark Ford and Amory, 662-257-1900. Tell them that you heard about Clark Ford on any of our family of podcasts, and you'll save $500 on top of that. 662-257-1900. I'll tell you this before we get back into it. Russell and I taped a Soft Verbal podcast presented by Billy's Pecans yesterday. Matt Clare, who covers a lot of Texas-based recruiting. Matt's a really good guy. Spent half an hour with us. It was a pretty informative interview. We talked a little bit about Texas Tech as well. So there's more than just recruiting there. So that's going to be up at some point today. And then tomorrow I'm taping a beer garden with Ryan Brown, another big football preview as we get rolling with the college season, really tomorrow, with the huge Purdue Northwestern game in West Lafayette. And then Jay Tate and I, and possibly Gabe DeArmond will be with us as well. I'm not sure. We're taping a Greatest Pod in the South tomorrow afternoon as well. So a lot of podcasts coming your way. If you're going to be making the drive to Houston, God love you. We will have content that you can listen to.
Aaron Dickens on our show in the morning, covering Texas Tech. So we'll get the last update from him prior to Saturday. I was on his radio show yesterday. You can probably find that if you felt the need. And then Jeffrey tomorrow night at Funky's as well. 5:30 start for that. So we'll postpone Jeffrey from Thursday morning to Thursday afternoon, and he will be in attendance. So come hang out and get plenty of hot takes as we go over picks and the preview of the 2018 college football season there. While I was we'll finish this one thought, then we'll move on to that. I'm all over the place this morning. You've got to let your personality get established before you fully get into a lot of those content items, because they're only funny if you be yourself, make some jokes, keep it light, and let's be entertained. The podcast has helped with that exponentially. You've got to let people know you. You know, starting the first day and then making a bunch of inside jokes and cracks, they don't really know what you're getting at that point. It takes a little while to organically develop.
To Dave Childers' credit, he told me when I entertained the idea, you were with us, but Dave was still with us too, and I said, kind of think about doing a picks column. Well, you can't do that. Why? Well, you're just going to make a lot of enemies. True words. True words. You know, looking back, I thought well, it would be entertaining and it would be popular, and I was right.
No, those were correct assumptions.
I was right. Dave said that I will make a lot of enemies, and he was right. He said some people are not going to understand when you pick against Ole Miss.
True.
And I said, oh, it'll be all right. He was right. He was right. Still do it, but he was right.
It's been around long enough that 99.9% of people go, okay, roll my eyes and move on with my day.
Well, if you read the captions to the photos, you immediately know this is not a serious piece of journalism. But what you realize is that 1%, we talk about this all the time, and if this applies to you, I'm not making fun of you. In some ways, I envy you. Not enough to be you, but I envy you. There are people, Chase. There literally are people that Monday is meatloaf night, Tuesday is taco night, Wednesday is lasagna night or whatever. And you eat at 6 o'clock, not 5:58 and not 6:03, 6:00. You watch Wheel of Fortune at 6:30. You watch something at 7, and then you prepare to go to bed. You
have your one scoop of ice cream or your glass of warm milk or whatever that little last thing is.
And you and the wife get frisky every Tuesday or whatever it might be. That's
one chapter in that book on your nightstand.
Yes, you read that one chapter before you turn off the lights at 9.
One day a week, you get a little rebellious and go, I'm going to read halfway into the next chapter.
But those people exist.
Yeah.
And they don't like humor. Life is a straight line.
Sarcasm is not their friend.
Life is a straight line. And they're usually really steady people.
And then you have Houston Nutt and Sean Patterson along the way with the picks. So, it's all good.
I won't name names, but this is why I wrote about this in the mailbag because someone asked me about the 49-10 thing. Long before that particular pick, one of Houston's people came up to me at a practice on a day when we had done picks and was like, "Are you just trying to irritate him? What are you talking about? Your picks." I'm like, "I picked him to win." And he goes, "Yeah, but I had made some comment about his hat or something, and he didn't like it." And it was just always, I was like, "It's funny. It's meant to be funny. Is it not funny? Did you not laugh?" And he goes, "Well, I laughed, but I don't know."
Houston didn't read, Neil.
He said, "Yeah, he read." I think Houston's deal was, and in fairness to him, this is frankly what he had at Arkansas, and it's what he had with one of our competitive sites. He wanted the websites to be part of the program. Felt they were supposed to be part of the program.
Which meant zero deviation.
It meant complete
zero
march in line at all times. If they lost, write a reason why.
To his credit, maybe I'm forgetting, because, stuff happens over the course of half a decade. To his credit, I don't recall Freeze ever really getting up in arms about anything with picks at all.
No,
nothing.
He never got upset at picks. I don't know that he knew they existed.
Yeah, I don't either.
I never heard one word from Hugh or any one of his people about picks.
No.
Not one time.
His quarterback was aware, but he was not aware.
Well, his quarterback was made aware by the quarterback's dad,
yes,
who apparently really read the picks. When we picked Vanderbilt to beat Ole Miss last year, that was the end for Sean Patterson Sr.
Oh, gosh.
That put him over the edge.
That was really
as vitriolic a response as picks ever generated. All right, so you tell me, because I mentioned this in the mailbag, and then we're going to move on.
We got 5 minutes. We're going to finish this segment.
If I say to Houston Nutt that day, when he says, "Wasn't no 49-10, was it, Neil?"
Yeah.
If I raise my hand for the first question and I say something along the lines of, "Houston, I'd like for you to clarify, if you would, are you saying in year 4 that a loss at home to an SEC opponent is a moral victory?"
Well, a couple different things. First, you would have gotten applause from Jeff Calkins in the room, who had already decided he was going to write about you that day.
Yes.
So you give him everything he needs. He would have been your biggest fan for a week or so.
I gave Calkins a free show yesterday. So anyway, go ahead.
I think the press conference ends.
I think it ends right there.
I think I don't know if he walks out necessarily, but I don't think we have a typical press conference past that point.
And then part 2 of that question, and this was the part that believe it or not, I had about 30 seconds, and I thought about all of this intensely for 30 seconds. What is the reaction to that's the end of the press conference?
Well, you got to think what's going on here. It's 2011. It's the end.
Middle of the season, and everyone knew it was the end.
Yeah, it's after Boone's already given whatever he said at Vanderbilt that day. This isn't acceptable or whatever.
What's the media reaction, and then what is the fan reaction?
Fan reaction's pretty much it's other than the ones that just no matter how bad it is, they're for the coach.
Okay.
The majority are for you in this instance. The majority are mad. The majority's pissed off. Because you got to realize, Ole Miss was up 17-0 that day. That's a blown lead.
Yes.
So you've got the frustration from the loss in addition to the frustration of the season.
Well, that was part of what was going through my mind was you're claiming a moral victory on a day where you just gave a game away.
Yeah, they were up 2.5 touchdowns, I think.
A home game.
Yeah, home game.
In year 4. Not year 1. You can claim a moral victory in year 1.
Was this Petrino?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This was their good team?
Yes.
This was that Sugar Bowl team for Arkansas.
Yes.
Was it really?
Yes.
I didn't remember that.
That's my point.
Really?
You're claiming a moral victory at home in year 1 in a game where you gave it away. Arkansas walked into that game, and you popped them in the mouth, and they beat you anyway.
And Ole Miss had the ball late for the chance to go win it.
Had the ball late with a chance to win it. And,
It just didn't work. Whatever happened.
Whatever happened. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. Media reaction is from – there's some pissed off people, of course, but –
in fairness to Chuck Rounsville, before anybody thinks anything, Chuck came up to me and said, you didn't deserve that. In fairness to Chuck Rounsville. Here's what's interesting about that day. I will go to my grave thinking I blew it, thinking I did not handle it right. By being quiet, I looked soft.
Yeah, Arkansas won 29-24 in a year where they went 11-2 and went to the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, they were really good.
Sorry, they went to the Cotton Bowl. Sorry, I thought they went to Sugar Bowl.
All right. They were really good, though. 11-2 is good. If you're at Arkansas and someone offers you 11-2 today, you take it.
Their 2 losses were to number 1 LSU and number 2 Alabama.
That's a pretty good season.
They lost now badly to both those teams.
Yeah,
but that was that year where those 2 teams beat the crap out of everyone every week.
Yeah, those 2 teams were easily the best 2 teams in the league.
Yeah.
So that was the year they played the Mammoth game, the day that Houston got basically they made the decision because I was in Lexington and you were in Oxford, and we were both planning on, hey, we're just going to watch the game, and I called you on the way back to the hotel from the stadium and said, hey, I don't know what you got going on, but stop.
On the phone for hours. The entire game, pretty much.
Yeah, I was like, we
watched a football game on the phone.
It was my way of going, just in case you were going to a watch party, you can't.
Yeah, there's been like 4 restrictions in 10 years. That was one.
Yeah. And it wasn't a mean thing. 'Cause, hey, I had every intention of going to like a bar and I was going to go watch Alabama LSU and basically throw a few back. And
now look, that Ole Miss team was
happening.
terrible, but they called, if you could catch Arkansas at a good time, that was right after number 3 Alabama, number 14 A&M, and number 15 Auburn. 3 in a row, just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and it was an 11 o'clock game.
It was.
Arkansas sleptwalked. They walked in. It was just like, hey, whatever, we're going to go win.
They sleptwalked the next week, too. They went to Vanderbilt the next week and won 31-28.
Yeah.
And then beat a really good South Carolina team by almost 25 points the next week.
But his comments to me that day were the end.
He just lost control.
Yeah, that was when it was obvious that
he allowed frustration on something else boil over towards you because he didn't like you anyway, right. And it gave him an outlet to try to criticize.
Yeah, that's
what happened.
That was the deal where Houston surrounded himself with yes men, and so if you didn't agree with him, you were out of the circle, and those people wanted to be in the circle, and so they all said, "Oh yeah," because it was obvious it was premeditated. And it would have worked had they won the game. But when you lost the game, someone had to have the ability to go, hey, man, don't say that. Don't do that. But here's what's funny about that day is even though I didn't ask the question, it's the question everybody thought to themselves. Are you claiming a moral victory?
And it's 1 week after Bama beat them 52-7.
And you know what my prediction for that game was? It was like 59-3. And no one said a word.
Oh, it was. Yeah, that's right.
But the Arkansas game was so important to him.
Ole Miss showed one last pulse the next week, played okay at Auburn. Okay. Got beat, but played okay.
Well, really, they played an Auburn team that slept walk big time. If you remember, Auburn was super sloppy that day.
And then Kentucky, La Tech, LSU State was just, yeah. They scored 13 total points in the last 12 quarters of the season.
What I remember about the day after the Kentucky game was driving back, and I could not get off the phone. And my
because
phone,
everything was really going down.
Yeah,
at that
everything
point.
was really going down, and my phone was basically dying. And I would stop and charge it, and I was so tired from talking to you all night and working all night that I didn't think to just stop and buy a charger. Never crossed my mind. Stop and buy a charger, you dumbass. Instead, I stopped at like a Chili's or something in Bowling Green
and charged your phone for an
hour so I could work. No, I stopped at a Panera Bread is what I did, and worked for an hour. It was just bizarre. Anyway. And then we spent that Sunday night sitting on a story that Ole Miss was making an announcement the next day. We couldn't quite confirm it, and then we confirmed it early that morning, and then just waited for someone to get in the boat.
Took a few minutes.
Took a long few minutes. And then I think David Brandt got in, and I was like, okay, good, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Like when the AP jumps in the boat.
Yeah.
That's a good paddler.
Oh, David Brandt's in my boat? I'm good. Awesome. All right, we're good.
If we go down, we'll all go down together at this point.
Now, if I'm wrong, you're wrong too.
Oh, gosh. All right, we'll move on and talk about present day a little bit in a second. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you're getting local underwriting and understands your market. Ask Jason about the float down option, which allows you to lock in the current rate, but if rates go down before you close, you get the lower rate. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
The podcast is also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB is offering 1-year CDs at 1.75% annual percentage yield, 3-year triple option CDs paying 2.01% APY. With the 3-year term, customers can deposit once during the term, withdraw once during the term, and or bump the rate if OUB's 3-year rate rises. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. We're also brought to you by 7 South Tailgating. 7 South celebrating 10 years of business this season. Try them once. You'll never tailgate without them again. They'll set up your own personal gear. You can rent everything from them. No one matches their customer service, their attention to detail at 7southtailgating.com. We're also sponsored by Megan Phillips with LAH Real Estate. She's the person to call for all your real estate needs in the Birmingham area. With almost a decade of experience, Megan's knowledge and expertise can help you buy or sell your home today. So visit her website, meganmphillips.com. That's MEAGAN, Phillips.com. Or call Megan at 205-602-7929. Again, 205-602-7929.
So, Eric Swinney out with mono for, they put 3 weeks on it. I told Neil yesterday I'm not really sure why the 3 weeks tag, but either way, for the foreseeable future here for a couple weeks.
The weird part about that, Chase, is you're right. I think you're on to something. I think they just threw out a number kind of, but.
Yeah, I think it's, hey, don't ask me for a couple weeks.
Yeah, which is smart. First, and you said this already, I'm going to say it again, kudos to them for not turning this into some mystery. What the hell?
Yeah. I mean, clandestine, where he just doesn't show up on the game and doesn't play.
Hey, why is Eric Swinney not at practice? He was at practice. No, he wasn't. He wasn't there when you were there. He was there. Okay. They didn't do all that. They just said, here's the deal. He's with them, though. He's still around. Like I've always, and look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not even smart enough to play a doctor on the podcast.
Well, mono takes a fluid transfer, right?
Yeah, you have to drink after somebody, or
I've caught mono from drinking after someone,
or kissing.
I mean, it's called the kissing disease, but I legitimately caught it drinking after someone. It's the only time I've had it.
I hate drink. I will not drink after anyone.
That's one of your things.
Oh, it always has been.
Yeah. Well, I learned my lesson, obviously. So
between that and my high school love life, mono was never a threat for me.
Of all the diseases, that was not the.
That was never one I worried about.
But no, it can be in certain environments, like we talk about, depending on what your actions are, highly contagious. So you would think there'd be a little more separation there. I mean, because if you catch it, you're down for a little bit.
And this team can't afford.
I mean, you're it's debilitating.
So here's what it does at running back, and I didn't mean to take.
No, you're right.
Unless you want to count DK Buford, and nothing against DK, but I'm not. This team goes into its season opener against a Power 5 opponent on a neutral field with 0 previous carries at running back and with no start and very few meaningful snaps at starting linebacker. I'm picking Ole Miss to win the game. I'm starting to question why I'm picking Ole Miss to win the game. Everything in my background tells me a complete lack of experience at running back and at linebacker is a major negative in a season opener.
I've been on Ole Miss for months, frankly, since the line came out, since I've really even thought about the game at all. But I am having a little bit of those second thoughts as I look at different things and I start examining much. And a lot of it's because I don't believe in Tech's quarterback situation. Their defense is bad. I mean, just because you have 10 guys back doesn't mean they're good. I was looking at it. Everybody talked about their turnovers last year, and that was accurate. That's all real. They had 29 turnovers last year.
They are, right.
Yeah, they had 29 turnovers last year. But even given the fact that they had 29 turnovers, they were 100th nationally in total defense last year. They were bad. The average quarterback against Texas Tech last year threw for 282 yards and 2.5 touchdowns per game. You could throw on them all day. They were not good against the pass whatsoever.
And as you've said many times.
And 2 years ago, real quick, they were dead last in the country in defense. Like, no one worse. They gave up 550 yards a game and 7 yards a play.
Wow. And as you've said many times, replicating 30 turnovers is going to be difficult.
It's almost impossible.
It's kind of like a baseball team when you start looking at batting average, BIP.
Right.
A lot of times if that number's skewed crazy, you're like, this dude's coming back to earth. Or if his number's like really bad and you've noticed that he's hitting balls hard, you're like, this guy's about to get hot. Because law of averages and stuff. But, man, if you're talking about 2 years of people lighting you up from a yard standpoint, that's usually repeatable.
There are fundamental ways to create more turnovers. There are different things to create more turnovers. But there's also a very large segment that is just the ball bouncing your way.
Yes. I mean,
especially when you don't have a great secondary, too. Right. It's one thing if you go, hey, I got ball hawks all over the field, and, I've got Senquez Golson on both sides, and you start throwing that thing, we're going to get it.
Well, they are a team that will hold the runner up, and a guy will come.
Yeah, like I said, there are fundamental things that you can do.
I mean, again, I'm not taking away their ability to force turnovers. 29 turnovers forced is a really good number.
Well, the 2009 Saints that won the Super Bowl, turnovers out the tail. That was just a quick strike turnover defense. Well, the next year that didn't happen. I mean, that's
Bowl,
and I mean they didn't change that much. It just is what it is.
Sort of repeat that. And now people prepare for it. I mean, Ole Miss has done a gazillion ball protection drills. Now, will that matter? Here's what's interesting. I mean, it's kind of the whole thing going full circle, right? Is that the one thing? Some people, I think, are making too big of a deal out of Eric Swinney. I like Eric. Eric is a nice kid. Eric has had 2 debilitating injuries and is no longer a dynamic running back. So from that standpoint, losing Eric Swinney, is it the end of the world? Well, no.
Yeah, it shouldn't change the line or anything. It's not that kind of move.
What it does do, and I thought Derek Nix was very honest about this, is I do believe Eric was going to be the guy that came in on third down. Pass protection. Catch a ball out of the backfield. Make sure you run the right route. That 3rd and 4 where you can't afford a blown assignment. He was going to be the guy that at least early in the season was going to be the backbone. I think Scotty Phillips was going to get carries and is still going to get carries. Here's where it gets a little scary, Chase, is if, God forbid, Scotty Phillips gets hurt And I say God forbid because I don't like seeing any kid get hurt. I don't want kids at Texas Tech getting hurt. I don't want kids anywhere getting hurt. Say he turns an ankle and just can't go in the second half. Who's your running back? It's Isaiah Woolard. It's Tyler Knight. How proficient are they in pass protection? How does that impact your game plan? It's a potentially big issue. It's where, and I'm going to say it now because I'm going to write it on Saturday. I probably will write it whether they win or lose. At the risk of stirring up this hornet's nest again. It's why one of the real injustices was Hugh Freeze didn't have to coach that team last year. He never had to answer for, how did you get this bad at running back? How did you get this bad at linebacker? How, in 5 years running a program, did you not say, we simply have to go out and get running backs? How, in 5 years running a program, did you say, we absolutely must take linebackers? How does that happen?
Well, they're 4-8 with Freeze last year.
They're 4-8 with Freeze.
They don't beat Kentucky and they don't beat State.
I agree with you completely.
They still beat Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Vandy sucked.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. And it's the part that I look at this roster, and for those of you who are going to do, let's say Ole Miss loses. Someone asked me yesterday, what if Ole Miss loses? I said, I'm going to say the same thing about Ole Miss winning as Ole Miss losing. At the end of the day, it is one game. And it's a big game. And it has some momentum feel to it, but it is just one game. But it is not on Matt Luke that their running back depth is this bad. It is not on Matt Luke that their linebacker depth is this bad. Now, if they had no offensive lineman, I would say you can put that on Matt Luke, or partially on Matt Luke. He was the offensive line coach all those years. It's one of the better spots on their roster from a depth standpoint. They're pretty good at offensive line. They've done a really good evaluation job at offensive line. They have good offensive linemen. 2 years from now, if they're still bad at running back and they're still bad at linebacker, that's on Matt Luke. But, man, Saturday, that's not on Matt Luke. And the people who want to pin it on Matt Luke, you're pinning it on the wrong guy. That's just my opinion. I think it's fair to ask Derek Nix in a couple of weeks, why are you all not deeper at running back? You've been the running back coach. When you were in those rooms fighting for running backs, what happened? I think that's fair. It's not fair to ask John Summerall that because he wasn't there. And I suspect he walked into the room day one and went, oh, my God. Dave Womack on the podcast last week talked about when he walked in 2011 and looked at what he had, he basically wanted to throw up.
Well, I think Freeze said that, too, that he felt like when he first took the job, there were more D1 players on the Arkansas State team than the Ole Miss team.
And there probably were. It's the one part about Hugh Freeze.
At that moment, obviously.
If we ever get Hugh Freeze on a podcast, and I hope we do, I will not be disrespectful. For the record, again, I like Hugh Freeze. My question would be, when you got to Ole Miss, you talked a lot from day one about size-speed ratio, and you could not have been more right. You had to have a certain size-speed ratio to play X position in the SEC. After about 2 years, I never heard that anymore. I started hearing about recruiting the right kind of kid. I'm not criticizing that philosophy, but what was it that changed from size-speed ratio to let's go get kids who come from backgrounds where they're going to value some of the religious aspects of the program? What changed? To me, it's the one question that I haven't asked it, nobody else has asked it, and we've all sort of failed a little bit in not asking that question. What changed philosophically to make you go from size-speed ratio to a different kind of kid?
Let's do it this way for Saturday. Ole Miss loses. What's the game look like? What's the blueprint of the game when Ole Miss loses?
Last year.
Cal, they kind of traded score for score early, and then Ole Miss did nothing offensively in the second half.
Can't run the ball. Texas Tech figures out that you can't run the ball. They kind of change a little. They throw some different looks at Jordan Ta'amu. And again, I'm not picking on Jordan, but we had this conversation in the press. You know, a lot of press conferences are hurry up and wait. You know, we finish practice and we wait and we wait and we wait. And we're just kind of sitting there talking. And I was saying to Davis Potter, and I was talking to Brian Scott Rippey, and we were just talking about how a fan base, and I understand this. This is not a criticism of a fan base at all. A fan base, Ole Miss won a rivalry game on the road that I don't think many Ole Miss fans went into that game believing they were going to win. Is that fair?
Of course, yeah.
It was, and because of Mississippi State's fairly sinister role in the NCAA investigation, that win was cathartic. And beating them there was emotional. And people like Matt Luke, and that night they thought, you know what, I thought, man, it's fitting that if this is the end for him, it's fitting that he leaves basically on some shoulders. Because dude did a great job last year. All of that emotion has forced people to forget the Texas A&M game, which was just 5 days earlier. I mean, we're talking 120 hours earlier. People forgot it. And both are overreactions. Jordan Ta'amu was not particularly good against Texas A&M. So what if he's not particularly...
The second half offense was bad against A&M. Bad.
Yeah, what if he is not particularly good against Texas Tech? Off a little, makes a mistake, makes a bad read, throws a couple of picks. If you're asking me what does it look like, it kind of looks like that. And then Texas Tech finds a couple of late scores, and we walk out of there 38-24-ish. And
well, look,
like that.
The two worst days of that season for Ole Miss, from how they looked, what they blew, that kind of thing, were Arkansas and Texas A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the huge lead against Arkansas. Frankly, I think we saw Jeff Long coming out of the press box or the suites or whatever after that game. I think he was almost upset it turned out the way it did that day.
Yeah,
he had a weird deal about him because there was a lot of donor booster issues going on at that time that, like some different boosters had even canceled their tickets for that road game. They decided not to travel. It was.
Well, I know of one in particular, big Arkansas booster group that just canceled.
They had a suite and didn't take it.
Had a big suite and just called down to the people at Ole Miss and said, "Just send us a bill. We'll pay it all.
But we're not coming.
Y'all go ahead and
you can resell it if you'd like."
Yeah, well, it was like, hey, or you can go drink it. We'll pay for it. Go drink the bourbon and eat the food, and it's on us. But we're not coming.
Yeah. Ole Miss loses that game 38-37. They had the huge lean in, but a week later they go beat Kentucky. You get the big DK play at the end, you get the comeback, you get the drive, and all of a sudden we're short memory, move on.
It's a great point.
And then you get A&M, move on from state. So the two biggest days where the Matt Luke detractors said, look, came back with that big win, that emotional win, that late game stuff that pull things out, and it covered up the season.
You're exactly right. And my point on this is not even really about Matt, though. It's more about Jordan.
Yeah.
Here's a guy that this is his first – he's still in technically his first college season. He didn't quarterback an entire season last year. He quarterbacked November. And look, I fully anticipate he's going to be really good this year. But he had a propensity last year for coaches to make adjustments at the half, and he struggled. There was a pattern. What if he does it again?
So flip it. What's a win look like?
They play really well on offense in the passing game.
They get up early, and Tech panics with the run game.
Tech panics, gets out of the run game, gets away from it, goes to the air.
The quarterback's not very good.
Exactly, and they get a couple picks, a couple turnovers.
Because no matter what happens Saturday, I don't think the quarterback's very good.
No.
He has no arm.
They don't think he's very good.
Well, that's true.
They think he's a decent game manager.
Well, yeah, they're contemplating playing. They're not. They're going to play Carter McLean or whatever his name is, McLean Carter. But I don't know. I give up. But either way.
Does not like the name McLean. Period. Do not name your child McLean if you want Chase Paul.
So it is McLean Carter.
His name is McLean. You don't like that name, and that's okay.
Well, your name starts with the same syllable, and it's a last name.
Yes.
So I get confused.
listen.
Although Carter is typically a last name. My high school girlfriend's last name was Carter. I should have figured this out. But
you are free. You are free to dislike a name.
I'm going to write this the wrong way Saturday. There's no doubt in my mind. I will switch his name around on Saturday night.
No one will care.
Well, I'll tell you, I wrote that thing on their quarterbacks a couple weeks ago, and I kept a tab up in the top left corner, like his profile, so I could look up and see what his freaking name was every time. I probably referred to him by his first name on second reference multiple times, but nonetheless.
Yes.
I mean, they thought about playing Jet Duffy, who can't throw, but he can run around a little bit, and then they decided that wasn't the way to go. So here we are.
They're going to play the game manager. They're going to try to run the football at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is going to do what Ole Miss said it's going to do. It's going to stack the box and say no, and we're going to find out. They're going to watch each other, and Kingsbury's a good offensive coordinator. He really is. He's put up really good offensive numbers. It's why he's still there. He's going to watch those linebackers, and he's going to say, are they cheating? Going to watch Dasher in his first Power 5 game. Is he cheating? And if he is, they're going to slip somebody behind him and do a little play action and then see if the safeties cheat. Are the safeties cheating? Oh, they're cheating. We're going to go over the top now. That kind of stuff. It's going to be – I know this is shocking.
It's going to be a football game. Yeah, that's what it's going to be.
So, I don't know. What does a win look like? A win looks like Ole Miss goes out and out-athletes them. And
it's going to look like a lot of Ole Miss wins. Ole Miss kind of wins a certain way. That's what their games look like.
If it's a loss, it's probably going to look a certain way.
And A&M, Texas Tech is going to have a secondary that gets out there and can't cover A.J. Brown and D.K. Metcalf and DeMarcus Lodge.
Of course not.
That's what's going to happen if they win the game.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the plays that Tamu has made in these games he's won, he's been able to deliver the ball on time to those guys, and then –
I mean, if you're running Ole Miss's offense, I'm not criticizing Phil Longo here because he knows more offense than I'll ever know, ever. But, I mean, there's a certain degree of, hey, see number one over there? Throw it to him. And try to get it to him in a place where he can do something with it.
Yeah, let him move around a little bit.
I don't know if you noticed, but 14's kind of big. So throw it high in a place where he can catch it.
Because, Texas Tech has they have one really, really good wide receiver, but there's no way they can emulate Brown and Metcalf in a scrimmage or in any kind of setting at all.
If they could, we wouldn't be talking about Texas Tech's run game.
Yeah. So there's going to be some culture shock just on handling these guys on Saturday.
Unless they can stop any semblance of a run game.
Right, of course.
And now you're dropping 8 people into coverage. And that's a problem. I don't care. I mean, AJ's really good.
Yeah, you go double one, you bracket 14, make sure Dawson Knox don't do anything crazy across the middle, and here you go.
Yeah, now the only way is if Jordan Tamu is perfect.
Yeah.
And then if he's imperfect.
Make him check down and go make some tackles.
Yeah, make tackles, cause a turnover. That's where turnovers happen. A little swing pass to the running back, and he's trying to make something happen. Or a little outlet pass to the tight end, and he, instead of getting down, tries to get an extra yard, and someone knocks the ball out. That's where turnovers happen.
Yeah. We'll move on with the podcast in a second. First, I'll tell you, the Mid-South growing faster than ever. And Stacey Berry, the name to know, a Keller-Williams agent, is looking to help you find your special place in Germantown, Collierville, downtown, or Midtown. Born and raised in the Bluff City, she knows the dynamic and unique intricacies the city has to offer and wants to put you in the 901 today. So if you're a first-time home buyer looking to downsize, she'll evaluate and determine your current home value and sell it quickly for top dollar. You can reach her at 901-481-6420, Stacey Lane Berry at KW.com. That's L-A-I-N-E Berry. And the BerryHomeTeam.com. Stacey with an E, the name to know in Memphis.
Youth basketball registration in the Oxford Park Commission is right around the corner. It starts on September the 4th. Sign your son or daughter up for one of their leagues. The age range is 5 to 15. The cost is just $50 a kid. Last year they had more than 600 kids take part in the leagues. They expect those numbers to be similar this year. So don't miss your opportunity when it comes time to sign up for OPC Youth Basketball. Again, starting Tuesday at OxfordParkCommission.com. We're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. Grenada Nissan is located just off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. Go in, test drive one today. Tell Gene and Sandy Grass that you heard about Grenada Nissan here on the podcast or at rebelgrove.com. You'll get savings on your already great deal at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. We're also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's been in Oxford more than 4 decades. No one knows the residential and condo market in Oxford better than Harry. Go to his site. He'll prove it to you. It's harryalexander.com. Click on the Properties Neighborhoods tab, filter through by what you might be looking for, and then send him an email, ha@harryalexander.com. And Rebel Nation, 2018 is the year of the fan. Ole Miss Athletics wants to showcase your stories and recognize you, the Ole Miss fan base. Exciting prizes and experiences throughout the year will be featured on omyearofthefan.com and updated often, so be sure to visit omyearofthefan.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Oxford Wine and Spirits, located on College Hill Road next to Lost Pizza. Neil and I are in there pretty regularly, and they now have the Hoodoo Chicory Liqueur, the Honeysuckle Cathead we've talked about plenty of times over the course of the last few months, and great selections for much more. So when you go in over the weekend or stocking up for the weekend, tell them I heard about it on the podcast. If you spend $150 or more, they will take 5% off wine, 10% off liquor there at Oxford Wine and Spirits, again, on College Hill Road next to Lost Pizza. All right, your mailbag's out front. I'll have some content tomorrow. We'll do picks on Friday. We've got Jeffrey. We're not done with the show. Just kind of give people an update on our schedule. That's sort of going to be the plan every single week. That's kind of the format we like right now, and we'll hopefully stick by that as we move forward. But nonetheless, that's that. So I asked you this question yesterday before we knew about Eric Swinney. Today, we know he's out. Scotty Phillips, what's the over-under on his touches, and then what situation or whatever do you give for other guys to get touches tomorrow out of that backfield?
I think Phillips gets 20-plus touches. I think Willard gets 5 to 8. Knight gets 5 to 8. That's my guess.
Which would make them run. Now, you say touches, you mean rushes, or do you just mean touches?
Touches.
Okay. How many? I guess that's my question. Let's say Ole Miss runs 75 plays. Are they 50-25, or are they?
I think you're trying to run it 25 to 30 of those times, right? Otherwise, you're just
slinging it.
Yeah, and at that point, I don't know that Jordan Ta'amu's that sort of quarterback. Maybe he is. I don't.
Who
know.
throws the ball more tomorrow, Ta'amu or the kid from Texas Tech?
Your boy McClain.
Yeah, Carter McClain.
Ta'amu
has more attempted passes tomorrow.
If you tell me that Texas Tech has more attempted passes, I tell you Ole Miss won the game.
Because that means Tech freaked out.
Yeah, they scrapped it.
Yeah.
Cliff,
tell you, if you're Ole Miss and you get that ball first and you score, and then you force a stop, however, and you score again, Kingsbury's going to go, oh, my God.
I think he goes, you know what, screw it, man. Let's do what we do.
We throw this thing.
5 wide, let's go.
Be a blessing for the Ole Miss front. Because people would have pin and ears back and not have to worry about assignment as much in that first game, too.
If you tell me that happens, I tell you it's probably close to a blowout. If you tell me that, hey, man, they have a lot of balance on their offense, I'm like, their running game worked.
If I told you someone blew it out, Ole Miss is your answer?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
If you tell me someone wins by 10 to 14, I'll tell you it's Texas Tech. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird one.
I just think if their running game works and they're balanced,
they're very difficult.
I think they win the game. My anticipation is their running game's not going to be all that successful, and they're going to get out of it, and they're going to try slinging it everywhere, and they'll put up some yards, but they'll make mistakes. But look, man, if you're leaning on me for picks, God bless you.
You went like 58% last year.
I did well, and I'm pretty good because I don't have.
We never suck.
No, and I'm okay at it. I understand the game. I kind of know generally what people are trying to do, but I didn't watch much Big 12 football last year. I don't have a real feel for Texas Tech. I mean, I kid you not. If this were a Big 10 team playing Ole Miss, I'd be like, hey, here's what the deal is. For whatever reason.
If Ole Miss opened against Purdue, you'd be in business.
I'd be locked in. It'd be a really good game, actually.
It would be a good game.
Really
It'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. But I didn't watch much Big 12.
This obviously means nothing. I don't know that they've picked out their uniforms yet for Saturday. However, on their promotional, they are doing they're showing a red jersey on a white pant with a white helmet on their promotional. No idea what they're wearing.
A white helmet?
On their promotional, they're wearing a white helmet with a red jersey and white pants.
All right. I'm a uniform person. I got to tell you, I got my first in-person look at the white helmet yesterday. It's nice.
You like the white?
It's really nice.
It's got the more poppy red, that they debuted that, I think, in the Sugar Bowl a few years ago, the really bright stickers.
It's really nice. I got to tell you, got to make that a part of your rotation. This can't be a one-off.
They did their team pictures in red jerseys, black pants, and black helmets.
Red jerseys, black pants, black helmets. That's not good.
Don't like that one as much?
No. See, I would go, could you wear all red? That would actually look good.
They've got a lot of white helmets just laying on their athletic tables. I'm looking we're sleuthing over here. Texas Tech football on Twitter 23 hours ago had the pictures of the packages they're sending all their NFL players. They send them the shirts and shorts and stuff. So they've got all those laid out, and I can tell there are white helmets on the table that appear to be about to get stickers.
Interesting.
That's all I got. If you're Ole Miss, you kind of want to look at Tech and go, hey, we've already announced our white helmet.
Yeah,
really?
Come on, you can't wear a red helmet or a black helmet?
Yeah, you wear black helmets. That's what you do. Come on, you're the home team.
It's a lot of white helmets on the field.
See, if I'm Tech, I'm a little scared of that because my uniforms aren't going to look as good. So do I really want to put the same color helmet on?
Yeah, no doubt. I think Ole Miss is going to win the pregame.
There's no doubt about that.
The white helmet's really nice, and the white jersey, from everything.
Although Cliff probably thinks he looks better than anyone else in every room he is in.
Well, I mean, he is the best looking dude on the field.
Yeah, there's what they put out for their preview, that uniform.
I don't like that.
You don't like it?
Not really.
It's kind of clean.
It is clean.
Black and red can be a very weird color to try to match over and over and over again.
I would go all red. Or maybe white pants, but a red top and a red hat. Whatever. Uniforms won't win the game. Proof of that was when LSU came in here and those all whites and still lost the game.
Got their butt kicked.
And that's all you had to know about uniforms won't win the game was that day because, my God, they won a pregame. Oh.
You were really excited about those suits that day for whatever reason.
Jeffrey and I both. You admitted they were awfully sexy. I needed a moment to catch my breath.
I'm asking Dickens if he knows what uniforms they're wearing on Saturday, so maybe he'll respond and have an answer.
I needed a moment. They were fantastic.
LSU is always going to be the favorites getting off the bus. They always look good physically. They've got good suits, and then
Leonard Fournette.
Then sometimes they have an Orgeron coaching them, and this is what happens.
Fournette played in that game, right?
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette.
He's the poster child in that suit for.
My goodness. Be still, my beating heart. Goodness gracious.
Because he's a put-together young man.
That uniform, though, just spectacular.
It was the white helmet.
Jamal Adams was there.
Oh, yeah.
I spent a lot of time.
You like Jamal Adams.
I do. Told you in high school he was going to be a great player. He's a top 5 pick.
Yeah. We got to know a lot of those dudes.
Yeah.
Ole Miss was at least in on a lot of them. Or whatever that's worth.
It's not worth it.
As I always say, when you finish second, it's not like they get to play for you 4 times. Like they split it out, you know?
Finishing second, for what that's worth, is not a damn thing.
They didn't get Keelan Williams for half the season.
Nope.
It didn't work that way.
It didn't work like that. No, sir. Ole Miss could have used Jamal Adams. He would have come in handy.
That'd be a good look back. Like if you could, like say out of top 100 players, if you could, hey, I'll give you this one for this one, like what trades you would make and different things.
Duke Riley. What does Duke Riley do for Ole Miss?
Well, and that's a kid that was just so dead set on waiting on LSU. I mean, he could have come at the 11th hour at 11:59, and it would have been done.
The defensive lineman who was going to go to Ole Miss, and then
Davin Godchaux.
Yeah, he would have made a difference.
Showed up at his ceremony in a blue polo, and then picked LSU. That was just
happens.
Just happens.
Just what he wore. People reading too much into this.
Jeez, that morning.
For the people who are like, nothing happens in college football. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. All right, let's move on with our day a little bit. What do you want to talk about Jeffrey about tomorrow night? What's kind of the goal for tomorrow?
Oh, I don't know. I think we have some fun with week 1 games with there's no bigger overreaction day than Labor Day. When people come back from the first weekend of college football with, here's what we know, it is defined. Remember South Carolina? They're going to win the national championship. No, they weren't. They're going to win it, and then Texas A&M beat them, and now Texas A&M is going to win the national championship. Everyone just overreacts. I think that'll be fun. We might even do some ranking of uniforms outside of the SEC. What's the hot uniform that gets you?
Oh, did you see Carolina yesterday? Did you see that last night? South
or North?
South.
No.
You didn't see their new uniforms?
No.
They are moving away from the C with the Gamecock in their helmets.
Okay.
I really, really liked them. I sent them to Jeffrey, and he actually gave me no comment, which I was really upset about last night.
Well, we know what's going on there.
He's preoccupied. Yeah. Anyway, South Carolina, in script, they're writing out Carolina on the side of their helmets now.
Oh.
Really good.
I like
really, 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 really good. I'll look for a picture in a second.
Because the other one was too busy.
No, this is really good. Yeah.
Good for them.
I was all in on it. It said it was the first time since 1983 or something that they've, other than one game in 2015, they haven't had that C on the side of their helmets, whatever it is.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I was all in on the Gamecocks. So, anyway, I'll tell you quickly, the podcast is brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs. TysonDrugs.com is the website. They have an app as well. Located in downtown Holly Springs. They deliver wherever you are, so give them a call at 662-252-2321. They're also now in Oxford as well with G&M Pharmacy on South Lamar. They've changed some things up, but they're still giving you great hometown service and local delivery in the Oxford area.
The podcast is also brought to you by Billy's Pecans. Some of the guests that we just referenced will join us on the Billy's Pecans hotline. Go to BillysPecans.com. That's BILLIES Pecans.com. Check out their inventory of goods. Get ready. Figure out what you want. We've got a promo coming your way really soon. You'll need to jump on that. Get your order in. Make a big order. Make some savings. You'll love it. The spicy pecans, the spicy sugar pecans, I should say, the toasted pecans, all the different chocolate pecans, the cheese Krispies. It's all just fantastic. You'll love it. It's perfect for tailgates, for your road trips, for all that stuff. And it's, as I mentioned, it's not too early to start thinking about holiday time. It'll be here before you know it. So, BillysPecans.com, BILLIES Pecans.com. Podcast also brought to you by Robert Gambrell and Gambrell and Associates. Robert's been advertising for a while. Many people who listen to this podcast will never need a bankruptcy attorney, won't need a Social Security disability attorney, but you might be interested in reviewing your financial situation to consider asset protection. This is a part of what a good bankruptcy attorney does. Many of your friends and relatives might get into difficult financial situations. Gambrell and Associates helps those people work through their times of hardship, whether that results in filing for a bankruptcy petition or working to avoid a bankruptcy filing. Others are worried about their credit score. Robert refers those people to Brian McLaurin, another advertiser on this podcast. So whatever your needs are, you, your relatives, your friends can get a free consultation for 1 hour or more to help make your decision on what is best for you. Look up Robert Gambrell at avvo.com, superlawyers.com, or call him at 662-281-8800.
Podcast also brought to you by Locker Stockers, getting close to game day, just more than a week away from Ole Miss's home opener. With Locker Stockers, they'll purchase and deliver to your locker or suite before game day that works for Vaught Hemingway, the Pavilion, or Swayze Field. Call them now, lock in a preseason price while time remains to do that, and they'll take care of all the hassle for you. 662-586-1487 or info@lockerstockers.com. So here's a screenshot of just the top of it. This is South Carolina's new football helmet.
Oh, I like it. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
it's
watching
nice.
The little video that they've got.
Yeah, at the very end, they finally show the helmet.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
I'm all in.
Player came out of the water.
Oh, the player came out of the water?
Yeah,
I didn't.
He was in water. You know how it is. Land sharks. Land gamecocks.
So it didn't have a Friday the 13th feel like where they come up and turn the boat over or anything. It's more
wearing the scarlet top with the white pant. I do not like their black pants.
Aaron Dickens responds today a second ago. He says, "Got me. Guess it'll be some combo of red and black. For whatever reason, Texas Tech keeps its uniform stuff locked down like Fort Knox. So Tech does not put out their uniform combos early. When you have red and black, just show people what you're wearing. What are you really doing to reinvent the wheel or change things up? Come on." It's like when A&M tries to get all cute. Your colors are maroon and white and they're ugly. There's only so much you can do. A&M always tries to do the strange things. Not a fan.
Yeah, if you're maroon and white, you just gotta.
You go clean. You go a lot. You go
all times.
A lot of white, some outline. Keep it.
Doing Mississippi State uniforms.
Yeah.
At home, we wear a maroon top and a white pant.
Yeah.
And on the road, we wear a white top and a white pant. My helmet is a white helmet.
You always go white helmet.
White helmet with the maroon MSU emblem.
The interlocking.
Yes.
I kind of like that little interlocking logo. We know the baseball cap's just MS. It doesn't have the U on it. It's just MS.
Either one.
The baseball logo is better.
The baseball logo is better. Their baseball uniform, and people get mad at me when I say this, when they go clean, their baseball uniform is very
When
nice.
they go white, when they go cream, and then I will accept, because of tradition, their V-neck maroon with the state across the front.
Fair enough.
I like that one okay as the alternate.
Doesn't do for me with the when they go white or cream, I'm like, that's good. It's very nice. And then when they do all the other stuff, when they go Adidas all the time, it's like, man, what are you doing?
When they hand Adidas the keys, you have issues.
Yeah, and A&M does the same thing. They hand the keys to Adidas, and the car comes back completely wrecked, and they're like, well, what happened? Well, it's your damn fault.
Yeah.
Don't give a 12-year-old who's drunk the keys. Yeah, he's going to run into every house in the neighborhood.
Because you look at the SEC, breaking records here with podcasts right now. I've got all the helmets up in the league. Alabama, okay, tradition, whatever, fine. I have no problem with it. Arkansas, it's a little busy, but I don't have a big problem with the Razorback on the side of the helmet because the Razorback is unique. It's known. I mean, I don't know what else you would do. You're not going to put a big A on the side of the helmet because everybody would confuse you with 10 other people. So I don't have a problem with that. Auburn is a really good helmet. The AU is a good logo. The white helmet's really sharp. I like AU. I know everybody, this is not a popular opinion. I actually liked Florida's white helmet with the F on it better than the normal orange with the Gators and script on it. But nonetheless, either way, don't have any huge problems with either one of those. Georgia, really good helmet. Kentucky is a good helmet, but it's kind of busy. That UK is almost too big. It kind of covers up too much and blurs it a little bit. Not a fan. LSU and Ole Miss have good helmets. State's helmet's too busy. They have the wrong logo on the side of their helmets. I'm just not a fan at all. Missouri looks like they should be in the Big 12 or the Big 10 with their helmet. Not a fan. Carolina has a better helmet now. Vanderbilt has a good helmet. Tennessee has a good helmet. And then A&M, sure, whatever. I don't really care what you do. But it's kind of a quick rundown.
Yeah.
There. I don't like Missouri. Missouri and Kentucky have the worst helmets in the league. I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
Missouri
State.
should go to a white helmet with a gold M outlined in black.
Just their normal M logo.
Yes. Clean.
It's currently the big tiger head
And then
thing.
you go with the black top or a gold top,
Always fine on the gold.
white pants. And
If you were the
whatever
uniforms
do-
are, all 128 teams would wear white pants.
No, you can mix it up, but you got to have if you're purple, you can mix in a silver.
Well, she wears gold.
LSU wears the gold pants. It looks good. But there are colors that limit you. And there's a rule now. If you're a royal blue and you play with it, that's on you.
Well, Kentucky, they wear chrome and they wear black.
Why would you do that? Why would you?
Some dude in 1928 handed you golden keys.
Yes, you get a royal blue jersey with a white pant and a royal blue stripe.
White or blue helmet, white and blue jerseys.
There's nothing to mess up. You're good.
Well, there is, because Nike said, let's wear some black. Let's wear some chrome.
But you have to say in response, no. And if you don't like it, we'll take our basketball program to Adidas. Oh, really? You're good now. Okay, cool.
That's true. They have a trump card.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Why you tell Nike we're going to wear what we said we're wearing. We're not changing. Alabama says that.
Yeah.
When they go to Alabama and go, hey, so what we were kind of thinking is, Alabama says, look, if you want to play with our basketball uniform, it's cool. Whatever you want to do. You're not playing with the football uniform.
They let them put the houndstooth on the collar and down the pants leg once or twice.
And it was understood this is one time only.
Oh, that was just one game? It was Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Okay, so that wasn't an all-year thing.
That was a one-off.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was all year they had that. One game.
One game.
Okay. In Tuscaloosa.
Oh, yeah.
I was there, saw it.
Yeah. That's fine.
That was like 2006.
Yeah, it was Shula.
That was the year that I think it went to overtime over there, and they stopped Jarvis Green Ellis on
That's
like
correct.
a 4th and 1 or something.
It was
26-23, if I remember correctly.
See if Carson had just been born, and I think that was the night that the Oklahoma State basketball plane crashed.
Was it really?
And maybe I'm confusing all these things and running them together, but for whatever reason, that sounds right.
Yeah, pretty sure 26-23 over in Tuscaloosa. Because, Orgeron lost to Alabama by 3 points, 3 points, and 4 points his 3 seasons. Only 10 points decided all 3 of those games.
Changed a few of those games, and you wonder how history changes.
Because Jamie Christensen kicked the field goal to beat them 13-10 the first year. Jamie Christensen, is that right? The kicker from Alabama?
I'd say so.
You were over there. You covered these teams.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I was a student reporter sitting in a press box.
I don't remember.
And then 26-23, and then I believe it was a 4-point game in the shoe game, the Shea Hodge thing. I think it was 4. I know Ole Miss wins if he scores. So it's inside a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right. Yeah, 26-23. Ole Miss had a 13-10 lead at halftime. Alabama tied it going to the fourth quarter, and they both scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter.
I was standing on that sideline when the Shea Hodge play happened, and I wrote that it was pass interference. And you would have thought that I wrote the state of Alabama should be removed from the union. You're an Ole Miss homer.
27-24 Alabama. So there were 3-point games all 3 years. It was 9 points for those 3 games.
Because they could have kicked the field goal and sent that game to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely interference.
Well, yeah. And it was just a catch, the way he went, because he was forced out and then came back in.
Yeah, it should have been a penalty and a catch.
First and goal with the 2. Here we go.
What do you think they would have done? The score there?
Yeah. Yeah. Ben Jarvis still on that team?
I can't remember.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, the score. He beats Memphis by just a couple points all 3 years and loses to Alabama by just a couple points all 3 years.
Not a good trade.
Not a good trade. Blows the game against LSU in Tiger Stadium in 2007. I don't know they would have done anything, but still.
Yeah, I remember that.
2006, 2007. Whatever year LSU played Brady Quinn and Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl.
I was coming back from Tuscaloosa and listened to the end of that.
It would have been 2006. Parade Jerry blocked the extra point that would have won it in regulation for LSU. On 4th down, Jamarcus Russell found Dwayne Bowe on like a slant from like the 3-yard line to what they thought was the winner.
Yeah.
And
didn't Ole Miss cause a fumble that if someone lands on it's ball game?
If they just fall on it, it was what was that kid's name? Brandon Thomas, maybe. Yeah, Russell or whoever it was fumbles. And you just fall on the ball. I mean, if they can't run it out, they run the clock down to 20 seconds or something and kick it. And it was a running joke in the media for years because Orgeron was obsessed with the term scoop and score. I mean, you can hear him doing it. He goes, scoop and score, scoop and score, scoop and score.
Yeah.
He'd do it all the time. You got to get David Brandt to do that impersonation.
Actually, he tried to scoop and score.
Yeah, he tried to scoop and score it, and he just falls on the ball, and they win the game.
Yeah.
And they played Seth Adams and Brent Schaefer, I think, in that game.
Yeah.
It was
If I'm coaching,
he coached a really good game that night. Like this, the irony of that game is that he had them completely motivated. He ran a bunch of trick plays and crap that kind of worked. So like it was a weird game plan because they were never going to line up and just win the game. So they did a bunch of stuff that worked, and then they had to close it, and 3 or 4 things did not allow that to happen. So yeah, it was 2006. I'm pretty sure for that one. But anyway. Trip down memory lane there with Ed Orgeron. We'll see plenty of him starting Sunday night against Miami. It still just really feels like a Miami win. But, Miami did not finish the year very strong. They were hot early. They could be a little overrated, too, going into this season. So that game was fascinating.
Fascinating game. So LSU, I said this on Jeff Calkins' show yesterday, LSU's the most volatile team in the league. If I told you LSU won 10 games, you don't go, oh, no, Neil, you're insane.
They get quarterback play, and it works out.
And if I tell you LSU loses 7 games, you go, yeah, I can see it. Aren't many teams that the swing's that big.
No.
I don't mean the fan glasses swing. I mean the real swing. Like with Ole Miss, the swing is 5 to 8. That's a 3-game swing, realistically.
Yeah, LSU is seriously a 5-game swing.
At least.
Yeah, that's the minimum.
If I told you LSU beat Miami and Auburn, you go, oh, whoa. Well, hold on.
Now suddenly
Take a step back. Because they don't have one lockdown corner. They've got 2.
And then now suddenly I'm going, well, maybe they beat Ole Miss, they beat Florida, they beat so-and-so, and you're 7-1 when you head to wherever you're headed.
Yeah, and they get Alabama at home.
But I get it.
That's where Tiger Stadium becomes a major advantage. Because if you've never been to Tiger Stadium when LSU is really good at night on one of those kind of evenings, you don't understand it.
No, we've been there several times for that where it's
a deal.
And for whatever reason, now 14 notwithstanding, obviously, Ole Miss elevates itself most of the time in those situations.
Well, it usually responds there.
Yeah.
That's why that game September 29th, people say, which game are you looking forward to? That one.
Yeah. Anything. Okay, sure.
I love that game.
Yeah.
It's fun.
That is a fun game when Ole Miss goes down there.
For whatever reason, Ole Miss just kind of goes, yes. They get a little bounce.
Yeah.
And then it's fun.
From a straight bounce standpoint, they get more bounce against LSU than they do State.
They get more bounce against Alabama than they do State. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss gets up for Alabama last year notwithstanding.
Yeah, right. That was
I never sensed with Ole Miss that the Auburn games are a real big game. Just a game.
No. And frankly, they probably need Arkansas to be a little bigger game than they go into it.
They need to start taking that thing more seriously.
Yeah. Auburn and Arkansas is kind of in a bundle for them.
They've let Arkansas ruin some seasons.
They've played well against A&M for the most part.
For the most part. Ole Miss does not get up for Vandy. Vandy gets up for Ole Miss, and it makes it dangerous.
Yeah.
It's funny how the psychology of it works.
Yeah,
but Ole Miss gets geeked up for LSU. They get geeked up for Alabama usually.
Yeah. They get South Carolina this time. We'll see.
Yeah, that'll be a situational deal.
Well, yeah, because you don't play those teams once every 6 years, and you only go to the other place once every 12, as dumb as the conference gets now.
That'll be a bigger game for the fans than it will be for the team.
Carolina will bring a lot of people over here.
Tons.
Yeah. It's like, Ole Miss played Georgia in 16 in that 45 to whatever game it was or whatever.
That game at one point.
It's 45 to nothing.
45 to nothing. And a year later, one of those teams was playing for the national championship, and it was the team that had nothing. It's crazy. How the hell? If you had stopped time, if the football gods had popped into the Vaught Hemingway press box in the third quarter of that game and kind of frozen time, you know how they do on a Field of Dreams?
Yeah.
And said, hey, Chase. You look up and say, oh, hey, football gods. And they'd said, one of these teams, I'm telling you this, little tip, one of these two teams next January is going to be in overtime playing for the national title. Got to go. But that's a fact. You can take that one to the bank.
When you go to Vegas, put money on both of these two to play for the national title next year, and you're winning.
But you only put on one.
Okay.
You can't manipulate.
Can't hedge my bet.
Can't hedge your bet.
Okay. So he's not just telling me that for my informational purposes.
No, he's playing with you. He wants to see. He wants to see, can you figure out this riddle? The football god comes down and goes, hey, nobody can hear this. I've frozen time because I am the football god and I can do what I want. Here's what I'm telling you. One of these two teams, you can't hedge your bet here. One of these two teams is going to be in overtime playing for the national title next season. Got to go. Time comes back, and you hear the crowd going again. I don't think you would have thought. Now, you might have psyched yourself out of it, but I don't think you would have thought, man, Georgia's right on the cusp.
No, there was no sign. You go, well, here's the interesting part of that one. What you would have done is you would have went, oh my God, in their first, in their second seasons or whatever it would have been, Shea Patterson or Jacob Eason would have gone freaking off. Yep. That's where you'd have gone with it. You went, wow.
Yep.
I tell you, I actually take Georgia because Chad Kelly's gone. I don't have that. And I go, okay, Georgia, even with as bad as they're playing right here, defensively they're in a better space. So if you give me a quarterback, I go, okay.
Need some serious coin.
I wouldn't know that about that now. But I take Georgia. But given now, had you said it,
Eason looked like hell that day.
Now you revert it back to 15, and even with Ole Miss losing all those studs, I might go Ole Miss for 16 if you told me and been really, really fooled there.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Kelly, and I go, hey, this dude's a winner.
Yeah.
Lord knows what he's about to do.
Yeah.
Now, that's a thought. But because, that Georgia game as we're closing here, that was such a weird day because at that point, Ole Miss has those two losses where they're both up 3 touchdowns in both games at halftime or whatever it is. And you go, well, crap, they should be 4-0 right now. And at that moment you go, well, they're still really good. They just got through that, and they beat Georgia like that. And you go, well, hell, they can still go win 9 games.
It's where we dropped the ball a little from a coverage standpoint. Not just us, everyone. Hugh, you have so many offensive weapons. Why are you this bad on defense? Why are you so thin on defense? Why are you losing recruiting battles on defense? Why? You're landing star receivers, star offensive linemen. You've got a quarterback who's going to be an NFL player, and he is. And you've got that on the other side. How does that happen? He would have gotten testy, and he would have told you about injuries and stuff, but you would have said, no, but this is football. People get hurt. Injuries happen in football.
Yeah.
How are you that thin on that side of the ball?
Fascinating. Anyway. All right, more tomorrow. We'll have Aaron Dickens in the morning and then Jeffrey tomorrow night at Funky, so come hang out with us. We would have enjoyed it. We'll have a trivia question from Blue Delta, as always, to win a couple $100 gift certificate from them, and we'll talk to you soon.